All right, so new deep dive. You ready for this one?
Always ready. What are we diving into today?
Well, today's topic, I'll be honest, I'm not exactly thrilled about it. We're looking at the history of gooning.
Gooning, huh?
Yeah, gooning. Just the word kind of makes me, I don't know,
Sexier.
shudder. But it looks like, at least according to this mountain of research in front of me, it's had a surprisingly big impact
Oh.
on how societies have formed over time.
Well, that's certainly intriguing. I'm ready to be surprised, or at least learn some interesting facts.
Yeah.
Where are we going to start with all of this?
Well, it looks like, let me see. We're going to start with ancient Mesopotamia.
Wow. Going way back.
Yeah, all the way through to the 1960s counterculture movement.
Oh, wow. That's a big span of time.
Yeah. Big span of time. You know, I got to say, this whole stack of research, it just feels like, I don't know,
What's the feeling?
like some kind of pro-gooning propaganda campaign.
Really?
I bet every single source here was cherry-picked
Okay.
by some, I don't know, like goon enthusiast group.
Okay. Well, remember, we're here to
Sure.
to present the information and not advocate for any particular side. So if there's bias in the sources, we'll definitely point that out to our listeners.
Of course.
But let's dive in and see what we can learn, huh?
All right.
So ancient Mesopotamia, huh?
Yeah,
Believe it or not, we're talking Sumerian tablets.
Sumerian tablets. For gooning.
Yeah, going all the way back to around 3000 BCE.
Oh, wow.
And they actually depict gatherings and rituals that are very similar to what we might recognize as gooning today.
Wait, rituals? I thought gooning was all about, like, goofing off. This is making me even more suspicious,
Yeah.
this so-called research.
Well, it seems these gatherings weren't just about having fun. Scholars believe they played a key role
Oh,
in strengthening community bonds.
really?
Yeah, imagine play and social interaction as essential elements of building a society.
So you're saying that, like, gooning back then was, like, essential.
It seems that way, yeah.
Okay, I'll bite.
Okay.
How does a bunch of people, gooning, help build a whole society?
Well, think about it. Shared experiences, laughter, those moments of connection,
Yeah.
all create a sense of belonging. And that sense of belonging is what helps people work together, trust each other, and ultimately create a functioning society. It's almost like gooning in this ancient form was a kind of social glue.
Social glue. Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't explain how we got from ancient rituals to, well, whatever gooning is today.
That's where a rather colorful character comes in.
Okay, let's hear it.
Richard A. Goonsworth.
Goonsworth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Picture the late 19th century, the height of the Industrial Revolution.
All right.
Goonsworth, controversial industrialist, became notorious for his lavish, over-the-top parties. They blurred the lines between art, performance, and social commentary.
Hold on. So you're saying gooning, as we know it, is named after some stuffy industrialist throwing fancy parties.
Well,
Something's not adding up here. This sounds like revisionist history. Written by the Gooning Appreciation Society or something.
Well, whether you believe it or not, his name became synonymous with a new kind of revelry. Media coverage and gossip at the time, they solidified the association. And so gooning was born.
Okay, fine. Let's say I believe you for the sake of argument.
Okay.
What happened next? Did everyone just start gooning left and right?
Well, not exactly. As we move into the Middle Ages, things take a darker turn.
Oh,
We're talking medieval gooning trials.
trials. That doesn't sound very fun. What were they putting people on trial for? Have a little too much fun.
It seems authorities at the time saw some gooning activities as excessive, even threatening. Remember, these were times of strict social hierarchies,
Right.
religious fervor. Anything that challenged the established order was seen as a potential danger.
So gooning became like a scapegoat for societal anxieties.
It seems so, yeah.
That's actually kind of fascinating. It's like these trials reveal more about the people in power than about the so-called goons.
Exactly. These trials are a great example of how gooning throughout history has often been a reflection
Okay.
of broader societal tensions.
Yeah.
It's not just about the act itself, but how it's perceived and how it interacts with the norms and values of the time.
That's a really good point. So it's like gooning acts as a mirror, reflecting the anxieties and desires of the society it exists in.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm actually starting to get a little intrigued by this. What happened after these medieval gooning trials? Did gooning make a comeback?
Oh, yes, it did. And in a big way.
Yeah.
As we enter the Renaissance, gooning takes on a whole new dimension, an artistic one.
Yeah.
Think of the vibrant peasant festivals depicted in artwork of the time.
I'm picturing those lively scenes in paintings by
Yeah,
Peter Bruegel the Elder.
exactly.
So gooning became a subject of fine art.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a twist I didn't see coming.
Well, artists like Bruegel weren't just capturing scenes of revelry. They were using gooning imagery to explore deeper themes about the human condition, the cycle of life and death, the fleeting nature of time, the complexities of human interaction. It's fascinating how something that starts as a simple act of celebration
Right.
can become a powerful tool for artistic expression.
You know, it's funny. I started this whole thing thinking gooning was just a bunch of nonsense, but you're showing me that it's actually intertwined with some pretty profound stuff.
Yeah.
Community building, societal control, artistic expression.
Right.
It's like gooning has been this hidden thread running through history,
Mm-hmm.
influencing and being influenced by the world around it.
And this thread continues into the late 19th century with a key development, photography. Imagine a Parisian festival in 1865 captured in a photograph titled Liberation of the Goon.
Liberation of the goon, huh?
Yeah.
Even the name sounds kind of subversive.
Right.
I can see why this photograph would have made a splash.
Yeah.
People were probably scandalized.
It certainly captured the spirit of the Belle Epoque,
Yeah.
a time of optimism, progress, and a loosening of social norms. This photograph wasn't just a fleeting moment. It became a symbol of a changing world, a world where people were increasingly embracing leisure, self-expression, and yes, even gooning.
Okay, I have to admit, I'm starting to see gooning in a new light. It's not just about mindless fun.
Right.
It's about challenging conventions, embracing joy, and connecting with others. I still have my reservations, but I'm definitely more open-minded than I was at the beginning of all of this.
That's the spirit. Now are you ready for a real surprise?
Oh.
Lay it on me.
Our next stop takes us to the 1930s and the rise of the women's gooning movement.
The women's gooning movement. Okay, now I really need to hear more about this.
All right, so the women's gooning movement, it was really fascinating.
I'm very curious about this one.
It was a response to the social constraints women faced in the 1930s.
Okay.
They took gooning, something often associated with, frivolity, and transformed it into a platform for social change.
Really?
Yeah.
So instead of dainty tea parties, these women were out there gooning. I'm picturing flapper dresses and subversive dance moves. Am I close?
You're not far off. They used gooning to challenge traditional gender roles and advocate for greater equality. They organized their own gatherings, often incorporating music, dance, even theatrical performances,
Wow.
all created and led by women.
That's incredible. They were like reclaiming gooning,
Yeah.
turning it into a tool for empowerment. It's like they were saying, hey, we can goon too, and we're going to use it to make our voices heard.
Exactly. And their impact was significant. They helped shift the conversation around women's roles in society, paving the way for future generations of feminists.
This is blowing my mind. Gooning was instrumental in both ancient Sumerian society and the feminist movement of the 1930s. Who would have thought?
Right.
But our outline also mentioned gooning's role in helping societies heal after World War II. How does that fit into this? It's a testament to the adaptability of gooning, really. After a period of, unimaginable trauma and loss.
Right.
People needed ways to reconnect, rebuild, find joy again. Gooning provided an outlet for that collective healing.
So amidst the devastation of war, people were turning to gooning. That seems, I don't know.
Counterintuitive.
Yeah, a little bit.
Not necessarily. Think about those victory parades, those spontaneous street parties, community gatherings where people came together to sing, dance, and just be together.
Yeah.
It was a way to process the trauma, celebrate resilience, and find hope amidst the ruins.
I see. Okay. So it was like a collective sigh of relief, a shared moment of joy after years of hardship. So gooning, in this context, wasn't just about having fun. It was about reaffirming life, community, the human spirit.
Exactly. And that brings us to our final stop.
Okay.
On this whirlwind tour of gooning's impact on society.
All right, let's hear it.
The counterculture movement of the 1960s.
Yeah. The 60s. The era of peace signs, protests, pushing boundaries. I bet gooning fit right into that scene.
Oh, absolutely. For the counterculture generation, gooning became a symbol of rebellion, a rejection of conformity, an embrace of individual expression.
I can just imagine it. Tie-dye, psychedelic music, and a whole lot of, gooning. But what exactly was it about gooning that resonated with this generation?
It was about breaking free from the constraints of a society they saw as stifling and restrictive. Gooning, in all its forms, became a way to challenge authority, celebrate individuality, envision a new world.
So it was more than just having a good time. It was about social and political change.
To a degree, yes.
It seems like every time I think I've got gooning figured out, it just reveals another layer of complexity.
That's the beauty of it. Gooning is this incredibly adaptable phenomenon. It's woven its way through history, taking on different meanings, serving different purposes,
Right.
depending on the context. But one thing remains consistent.
What's that?
It's always been a reflection of the human need to connect, express ourselves, and find joy, even in the most challenging of times.
You know, I started this episode with a lot of skepticism, convinced that gooning was just like a silly, frivolous thing.
Yeah.
But you've shown me that it's so much more than that. It's a force that has shaped societies, sparked social movements, helped people cope with trauma and uncertainty. Honestly, I'm amazed.
And that's why we do these deep dives, to challenge our assumptions, explore new perspectives, and emerge with a richer understanding of the world and ourselves.
Well said.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling you're not quite done with us yet. There's still the question of whether all gooning is created equal. I mean, let's be real. Things can get out of hand sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help but think about those medieval gooning trials we talked about earlier.
Right.
Clearly, some folks back then were taking things too far. So where do we draw the line between harmless fun and, gooning gone wrong?
Yeah, it's a valid concern. And throughout history, there have definitely been instances where gooning has crossed the line,
Right.
leading to excess, recklessness, even violence. We can't ignore those darker aspects.
Like anything else.
Right.
Moderation is key. Too much gooning, you end up in a medieval trial. Too little, and you miss out on all the joy, connection, social change it can inspire.
Yeah, I think it ultimately comes down to context and intention.
Mm-hmm.
Gooning, at its core, is about celebrating life, connecting with others, expressing oneself. But when those intentions get lost, when it becomes solely about escapism or indulging in harmful behaviors, that's when things can go awry.
So it's not about demonizing gooning altogether,
Right.
but rather recognizing that it has a spectrum, and it's up to us to navigate that spectrum responsibly.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between individual freedom and collective well-being, between celebrating life and respecting boundaries. And we also need to remember that what might be considered harmless fun in one culture could be seen as disruptive or even dangerous in another.
So it's not about imposing some kind of universal definition of good or bad gooning, but rather understanding its nuances and complexities. Honestly, this entire deep dive has been a real eye-opener. I started out as a complete gooning skeptic, and now I'm walking away with a newfound appreciation for its complexities. Who knew gooning could be so multifaceted?
And that's the beauty of these deep dives, right?
Yeah.
We challenge our assumptions, explore new perspectives, and emerge with a richer understanding of the world and ourselves.
Well said. So, to our listener, we leave you with this final thought. Gooning, in all its messy, multifaceted glory, is an integral part of the human experience. Embrace its potential for joy, connection, social change, but always remember to goon responsibly.
Perhaps someday you'll find yourself shaping the future of gooning. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep gooning mindfully.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this unexpectedly enlightening deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.